Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the big welcome session for students joining us at Haywards Heath College and Worthing College this coming September. I'm Paul Riley, the principal of the colleges, and I'm joined today by my colleague Ben Fry, the vice principal at Haywards Heath College, and Jenny Thompson, the assistant principal at Worthing. We are so excited to be here to welcome you as new members of our communities at both Haywards Heath and Worthing College as part of the Chichester College Group, which is celebrating a truly outstanding Ofsted report recently published, which recognised that the group is outstanding in all categories of our inspection. We go to the next slide. Our mission is very clear. It's changing lives through learning. Okay. We deliver our mission of changing lives through learning day in, day out in all of our colleges. And as members of our community, you will come to benefit from these values and the mission that we set out. Next slide, please. The values we have, you will join as a community and share. These values are shared by over 1,500 staff and over 20,000 students across the group. All these values are there to support your experience and your success as members of our community and now your community. Okay. Next slide, please. Well, folks, these are unusual times. Indeed, we are continuing to work and learn during the pandemic, whatever the scenario of social distancing we have in place in September. And today's sessions are just one example of this. And my colleagues and I hope that you get the most out of the sessions that you attend today and or review later online. A reminder what we have done, we have issued Getting Ready For packs early as part of the May newsletter, and more on that later. We've issued a June newsletter with a web page with Getting Ready For information, which is really important resources for you to continue your learning. And look out for the July and newsletters and upcoming information which will come into your inbox shortly. Okay. Next slide, please. Remember, the newsletters are designed to provide you with the information, advice and guidance and resources to continue your learning. Look at the recommended textbooks for each of the courses out there. Reflect on your GCSE subjects, especially those courses that are important to your college courses of choice. Research the syllabuses, content of your college courses, and check out some great resources to extend your knowledge and understanding. There is a focus on maths and English in the resources and literacy and numeracy skills, which underpin all subject areas. There's a section on careers and progression opportunities for individual subject areas. And there's a section on the Academy of Sport resources, including some fantastic podcasts, reading and watching lists. Look out for your mental health during this time and physical well-being in what for many is a stressful and anxious time. And again, there are resources on the webpage to enable you to do this. This is about broadening your horizons. Whether you want to improve your study skills, keep yourself informed on global issues, or prepare for your next step in the courses of your choice. Just go for it. At this point, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Jenny Thompson.
Thank you very much, Paul, and good morning to all of you. I'm delighted to welcome you to the Worthing College in Haywards Heath. Big welcome. Did you know, I think you do because Paul's already said, but did you know that we are one of the only 2 colleges in England to achieve the top Ofsted grades, and we achieved outstanding in every single area. We are so proud of this achievement, and as we welcome you to our college, it is our ambition to ensure that we provide you with the best education and training that we can possibly provide you with. As I have mentioned, the Ofsted visited in the spring term, and we were delighted with the outcome. Next slide, please. What did they say about our students? They spoke to many students on the ground during our 4-day visit, and students are rightly very proud of this college. They really did appreciate the opportunities they had to participate, and they were really delighted with the student voice group, who essentially carries out staff observations, they carry out interviews, surveys, and they visit other colleges to get the best practice. Does this sound like something you want to do? If it is, we would love to hear from you. Also, teachers, they said that teachers inspire their learners and they develop the skills and the knowledge that they need to be successful. They also said that their lessons are interesting and engaging. So we would be delighted for you to experience these as well. Next slide, please. So how do we do this? Well, we help you to develop effective habits and positive mindsets from the very, very minute you step through our door. And we use the Vesper model to help us develop this. In the first few weeks, we focus on your vision. What do you want to do to achieve? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And how do you want to do it? And we also help you develop effective systems and structures to maximize that. Because we know that successful students know what they want to do as they walk through the door. And if you don't, we will help you to achieve that. We also know that successful students can organise their time effectively. We don't stop there. What we also do throughout the year is we work with you to develop effective homework structures. We work really hard on past exam papers to get you ready for your big day. And we help you learn how to learn effectively. We also help you develop strategies that will improve your resilience when the going gets tough and to have a positive mindset and never give up. Next slide, please. So how are you going to look when you come to this college? What will we offer you? Well, we will offer you 4 hours, 20 minutes per A-level or per A-level, vocational A-level. We will support you through 6 hours of independent study, homework, and we will guide you through a really interesting ACES tutorial program that focuses on developing attitudes, making the right choices, looking at employment, and developing the right skills for your future. We'll also help you with subject support, and where applicable, you will receive outstanding additional support. My final slide, please. How will you know how you're progressing? Well, you will have 11 assessments throughout the year, on average, roughly 1 every 3 weeks. These will include 3 major assessment points, 1 in September, October, 1 in December, akin to your school mocks, and then 1 in June. You'll be able to see your progress on all the college systems. You will have one-to-ones with your teachers and your tutors, and you'll be giving comprehensive verbal and written feedback on all of your assessments that you submit. And finally, your parents will have an opportunity to come to see their tutors in autumn and their teachers in the spring term. I really hope that we see you in September. I'm delighted to look forward to seeing you. And now I'm going to pass you on to my colleague, Ben Fryer.
Many thanks, Jenny, and good morning to all of you. Thank you for joining us this morning. In this next section, I'm going to take you through some of the things you can, should, and probably are already doing to make sure you have a really positive start at the college, but also to get you back into the swing of things before September, meaning you hit the ground running in your chosen courses. Next slide, please. The first is to draw your attention to this, the Getting Ready for College event page, a dedicated page on the Worthing and Haywards Heath website, which goes live today and is filled with really useful information, support, and really an inside look at college life. Here you can get to know who will be teaching you, have a virtual tour, watch information videos on your subjects, as well as it being a fantastic place to check on some other important things you'll probably be finding out in later sessions today. Go on there after these sessions. It really is jam-packed with useful information for you. And with that in mind, I wanted to share our top tips for you to go away with and really get stuck into. Next slide, please. So our first top tip is to spend time on the Getting Ready For packs. There is one for every subject, and you're expected to start working on filling these in over the summer before you start. They've been available for a couple of months already, so I'm hoping some of you have made a good start with them. Each will form the first part of your assessment in September, but more importantly, they give you a really good taste of what to expect. You can do as many as you like and as many subjects as you like. So if you've sort of 2 subjects completely nailed down, but you're not sure between the last 2, then my advice would be to do both of them and get a really good start. Next slide, please. Thank you. And our second top tip is our study skills program. It's again, a link is found on the Getting Ready For page. This is an opt-in program that will run throughout your time with us and is full of the things we've found make for a really successful student. And you can see there are 3 parts of the program there: skills for effective learning, building confidence and resilience, and effective revision and exam performance that run throughout your time with us. Each have a variety of resources to read, try, watch, or listen to. And this is something you can definitely make a start on before you come. And I just think it will give you a really good head start. Next slide, please. Tip number 3 is to get your IT skills up to scratch. Loads of you, I'm sure, are pretty good at some of these things already, but there'll be a number of programs that you'll use across your time with us, across different subjects, but alongside the usual Word, Excel, PowerPoint, we advise you start your learning on Microsoft Teams and Microsoft OneNote if you're not familiar with them already. You can do this by downloading the free versions and going to the Microsoft Education Centre. And again, there'll be a link on your Getting Ready For page for that. You can learn much more there, and you can get your badges and become an expert in some of those things. This is something that we are certainly going to be supporting you in your inductions with us. But again, a good work and understanding of this would be really useful moving forward. Next slide, please. Our last tip, and it's amongst the most important, I think, is to get the balance right. To start thinking of how your week will look in September and planning for it. Our expectation is that you do 10 hours of work per subject per week. And that's 4 hours spent in lesson time with your teacher and 6 hours in your own time. The Vesper systems that Jenny mentioned earlier will help you by supporting you in managing this. But I think it's also worth you seeing what it might look like as a starting point. Next slide, please. So here we go. This is a look at a blank Worthing timetable. You can see the day starts at 8:30 and finishes at 4:05 with 3 two-hour lessons a day spread throughout the week. Next slide, please. This is it if we populate that with 3 courses. So here we've got A-level PE and a double A-level in Business Camtech. And I've also put in 4 hours of independent study in. So it looks like this, filling some of those independent study periods in the day. You would then need to find space for another 2 hours for each subject. So another 6 hours in total. And you can see I've already got a 2-hour Camtech business homework session on Tuesday evening. My advice would be to fill those blank spaces in your timetable with them and see your study as a kind of 8 till 4 o'clock day job, allowing you to work part-time, so no more than 10 hours, please, and do all the other things that you like to do in your spare time, you know, whatever that might be, playing sport, music, creating, whatever it is. Of course, if you're chosen to represent one of the academies with us, your week will look even busier. Next slide, please. And here you can see I've just put those blocks in the light blue, the Sports Academy blocks. So it just means you have less time within the day to do some of those, that subject-specific work. But you'll still have 6 hours to fit in the weekend or one other of the evenings. So it's busy, but you'll still need to find time for those things. Next slide, please. The same is true of Haywards Heath. And although slightly different, you can see here in pink, the Friday is given up to a day of enrichment activities, such as the Aspire programme, I don't know, still life drawing, recreational sport, societies, for example. Next slide, please. And if we populate that with 3-course programme, so we can see there we've got somebody studying psychology, applied law and fine art, it starts to get a bit busier again. But using some of those independent study times for your homework during the day is a really positive thing moving forward. And it comes back to what Jenny was saying earlier really about good habits. And this is something that is absolutely fundamental to our philosophy here and something we can definitely support you with. My advice is to get organised, start planning how your week will look and make sure you get the balance right. If you want to achieve excellence in big things, it starts with little habits. So make sure you get off to a good start and check out the Getting Ready For page as soon as these sessions are finished. Paul, back to you.
Thank you, Ben. Some really good advice there. We go to the next slide, please. Okay, folks, I do hope you've enjoyed your course guidance planning meetings and planning your subject choices for September. If you are considering a change of course from what you've decided in your application to date, please be aware that requested course changes will have to consider the availability of courses given the 20th of December deadline that was put in place for guaranteed first course choices. There are 3 points of reflection in terms of your course choices. Before you get your GCSE results in August, after you get those results, and during enrolment. If after you enroll at college and you start your timetable, you then want to consider a course change, there is a timetable help desk which will be available from the 28th of September to consider course changes post-enrollment subject to availability. I would urge you though to follow the key tip on the slide here. Think about your career progression choices and your plans in making your subject choices, and particularly the entry requirements for individual courses which are signposted on the website. Okay. Please use the email addresses for the individual college for any admissions inquiries you have. Okay. Next slide, please. It's now time for us to look at some of the questions that you've been posting during the session, and my colleague Ben and colleague Jenny will interchange with me to answer some of those questions as best we can, mindful of the time. We may not be able to answer all of the questions, but where we will see the questions, we will post a frequently asked questions update on our website, and a reminder that all recordings of the webinars will be available on the website in the next 24 hours. So here we go, let's have a look at some of your questions. Okay. What sports are included in the academies? Well, at this present moment in time, we're looking at football, rugby, and basketball for the men's academies, but we're also exploring women's netball. It's important to say that this is a moving development. We're looking at the demand coming through from applicants, particularly at Haywards Heath I'm referring to at this point, but the other sports are still online for the Worthing Academy of Sport, as has been in place for the last 11 years with great success. Okay. When is the first day of term for Worthing? Interesting question. The first day of term in terms of teaching will be the 14th of September, and that will be exactly the same at Haywards Heath as well. Okay. Will laptops or other devices be used frequently in class? Yes, we would be encouraging you to bring your own device as well, but we're very much about learning through technology and innovating through technology. So important to recognize those developments and be a part of that journey of integrating technology into your learning. Okay. Interesting question here. Is there a dress code that will be put up online? There is no dress code as such. What we would ask you is to recognize the decency of your workwear, in effect, coming into college, and recognizing that our values have to be maintained throughout. So anything that bridges those values will be something that we couldn't allow. But workwear is entirely you, in terms of what you want to bring and your identity, to bring that in terms of what you choose to wear. Okay. I'm going to, at this point, hand over to my colleague Jenny to answer some of the questions.
So the next question is, if you don't have a computer, can you study at the library? Yes, you can. We've got a bank of computers. The library's open during the course of the day, so you'll be able to access a computer or a laptop in the library probably between about 9 and 4:30 on a daily basis. And your other question is, will you be able to do to offer cricket through video evidence? Yes. I'm assuming you're talking about an A-level PE student here. So yes, you would need a whole montage. It's quite a lot of video evidence. So speak to our PE team and they'll give you a little bit more information. I'm taking loads of questions. I'm taking GCSE English and Functional Skills Maths. Is there a Getting Ready For pack available? I can only find A-level. There isn't a Getting Ready For pack for GCSE and Functional Skills, I'm afraid. So if you go onto YouTube, there's loads and loads of clips and hints that will help you out on there. Before it disappears, I'm going to pass on to my colleague Ben, because there's a Haywards Heath question there. So over to you, Ben.
There is. Thank you, Jenny. Is Haywards Heath College on track in terms of building work going on? Yeah, very much so, actually. I've had regular visits there, my last one being on Friday last week. And those of you who came to our open events, you remember the old building in behind the college, which has been completely knocked down now, creating great light through that area. The theatre, the Hub Theatre, is pretty much finished as well. As long as all the other facilities as well. So we're just going in now, putting things like tables and chairs in, getting some of the equipment in there. But actually, the work within the college itself in the classrooms is pretty much there, and we've still got 2 months to go. If you go to the Getting Ready For page, you'll be able to see a short, very embarrassing video of me giving you a bit of an update around the site, so you can see for yourself how it's looking from there. I'm going to pick up another couple of questions, actually. There was There's one that was answered, but I think it's worth you all hearing actually, which what happens if English and maths isn't passed? And it's a really good question. Obviously, we have faith in you, but it's a bit of a funny year this time. And this also is relevant to those people who were perhaps home educated or privately educated and didn't have the opportunity to be awarded a certificate this year. So we will support you very much in your first year, whatever that looks like. And if there's an opportunity to take it in the first term, so the November sitting, then we'll put you in for that, depending on what the government say. But if not, it will certainly be after January for those awards. Is the library always open? Not 24/7, but certainly for the majority of the day, it's a really good learning research space where you can go for some quiet study, independent study from when the college opens at the beginning of the day to after the lessons are finished. So yes, it is. I did see somewhere it was, will it be books or devices in class? And I think, you know, we want you to work how you work best. So flexibility is the key. We like the idea of driving forward devices because we think that will give you an access to a resource really quickly that you can annotate on. But similarly, if you're someone who likes to write in notebooks and keep your work together, and this is absolutely what you should do. So we're looking at working flexibly. And I think someone else put it, you know, if there's not enough computers, can we work in the library? Of course, there'll be a number of different designated computer rooms as well as a library, but also a loan system for laptops from the library in both centres where you can short-term loan things. Paul, I'm going to pass you back. Is there a rule about your hair colour? One for you, I think.
Thanks very much, Ben. Absolutely not, folks. You can have whatever hair colour you wish. It's entirely about your identity, and go for it. Question there about how will Fridays work at Haywards Heath College? Well, Fridays in the first year will be very much about enrichment opportunities. There was another connected question to that about, do you have to participate in enrichment activities on the Friday? The enrichment activities are there for your choice, to choose things that are going to be enriching for you as an individual. Okay. Question here about, is Worthing opening in September or staying online until later on? I'll say something about that in my last slide, but we will continue to be learning whatever the scenario we face in terms of social distancing in moving forward, whether that's full return to full classes and full timetable, or a combination of remote learning and in class. Question here is, do you have forms or tutor groups? Okay, so there will be tutor groups in place. You'll have a tutor group and a named tutor who will work with you during your learning journey, whether you're at Worthing or at Haywards Heath. Okay. When do I have the chance to change my chosen courses? I did reference that earlier on in the slide, just to say that the 3 points of reflection up until enrolment, and then there's a timetable help desk which will be available from the 28th of September after lessons start from the 14th. Okay. Lots of questions coming in here. Will I need to bring my own textbooks into class? Okay, if you choose to purchase textbooks in advance from the textbooks list on the website through the Getting Ready For, please do bring them into class because it will aid your learning. Okay, but it's not a requirement in terms of the learning process. Okay, just looking at some of the questions coming through. When is the first day of term at Haywards Heath? Again, just to reiterate, it will be from the 14th of September when teaching starts at both Haywards Heath and Worthing College.
Can I just answer a couple, Paul?
Yeah, I'm just going to hand over to Jenny Thompson to answer some of the other questions.
Okay, I've seen you keep asking questions about dress code. Paul said to you earlier, it's about decency. So it's making sure that you're obviously coming into college not looking as though you're going down the beach necessarily. Also making sure you've not got unpleasant slogans on a t-shirt, but we really do want you to express yourself. It is a college environment and we're really wanting you to be independent young people. We've also got quite a few questions about, can we change our choices? What happens if we don't know what we're doing? What happens if we don't get the grades we need? Well, please feel free to email admissions. There's an email address on the slides that you will get on here in the next 24 hours. You'll be able to have another curriculum guidance interview. You'll be able to speak to somebody during enrolment. And then during the first 2 weeks of your term, we let you have a little cooling off period. So there's ample opportunity for us to chat with you, to discuss your choices, if you've got any ideas in changing your mind. We've also got a couple of questions on We've had another one on tutor groups. What would a student be doing? Duke of Edinburgh. Oh, sorry, Paul, you've just whizzed that one down. So what would a student be doing? Goal Duke of Edinburgh. That's an enrichment activity. So that will be an after school activity. It will start later in the autumn term. If you've done Duke of Edinburgh before, you'll know that you go on expedition and you'll complete your expedition in late spring, early summer. Are there trips planned for travel and tourism? Well, we're hoping to plan trips, and we plan lots and lots of trips. Ski trip, we've been to Peru, we've looked at China, we've looked at a whole host of different trips, including Paris, Disneyland. But we are a little bit hamstrung at the minute with COVID-19. So we have trips planned and we're hoping that they go ahead, but all we can say to you is just watch this space. My last question before I pass over again is, can we leave for lunch? Yes is the answer. We do have a fabulous canteen here and we do encourage you to stay on site because we've got incredible facilities. But you are young adults. Ben mentioned earlier to try and maximise your day here so you can get as much of your homework done as you can. But yes, you can come into college when you don't have a lesson and you can leave when you've finished it. But like I say, we encourage you to really exploit our fabulous facilities and IT provision here. So over to you, Ben.
Thanks. I'm just going to take one question. I'm going to pass back to Paul, but just one that's just sort of sprung out to me is, how many students will there be at Haywards Heath in September? It's a really good question. We have over 400 who have accepted a place at Haywards Heath, and I suspect there'll be a few more who make a late decision on things when they see the place, and it is really looking good. Paul, I'm going to pass back to you for any final questions on your final part.
Just have a couple of minutes left, but I have to answer the question, will Mr. Riley be based at Haywards Heath or Worthing? The answer is both. I'll be there at both institutions during any 1 week. So folks, we're going to have to close off on the questions and answers at this point. Sadly, we've reached the end of our session. So all that remains for us to say is a big welcome to our college community, whether you're coming to Haywards Heath or Worthing. We will see you in September. We will be open and we will continue to work and learn in whatever scenario we face in relation to the social distancing from September. You can be assured of a warm welcome and bright future as new members of our community in an outstanding learning environment in both institutions. Goodbye everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. And a reminder that this webinar will be posted on the website within 24 hours and we will do an update on all your questions and answers. Thanks very much for tuning in. Bye-bye.